Thank you for joining us today, Mike.
Good afternoon to everyone, and we thank you for joining us again today as well this afternoon. By all
Absolutely.
means, sure.
Of course, we've had a little bit of a hiatus.
We have. It's been several months since we've had a true live event anyway.
Absolutely. That's because you've actually been live in different states, haven't you?
Absolutely. Face to face.
Absolutely.
Talking to horse owners across the U.S. And even Canada as well. So we've covered a bunch of different states. I'd say at least 10 in the last 2 months, and Canada itself.
Yeah,
so
between me, you, and Darren, we've been around.
Sure.
But we're back in place now.
We are. Travel is slowing down just a little bit, so that gives us an opportunity to come back live, do a presentation for you. And we certainly hope that what we present this afternoon will be informative, that it'll be educational, and that it'll be helpful.
Absolutely. Well, I know we've asked where everyone's watching from, so I've seen a lot of those drop in. Of course, we've got several in the United States. I've seen in Canada and England, Australia. So we have several different locations. So thank you again for joining us. If you've never watched one of our live events before, I guess the first thing you should really know is that we're pretty laid back about things. If you run into a question as we're going through the presentation, feel free to drop your question down in the comments. Can't guarantee that we'll answer them all, but we'll definitely do our best to answer those. If we don't answer your question, you can always feel free to message us here on Facebook or to email cservice@lifedatalabs.com. And we'll be happy to answer those questions to the best of our abilities. During this event, we do have contests that are occurring. We will be doing our trivia questions. We'll be doing 3 of those, and of course those are only for those watching in the United States. Unfortunately, due to those international giveaway laws, we're incapable of doing more than just what's in the United States. And so those will pop up, and we'll give you a little warning that they're happening. Basically, we ask the question, you answer it as quickly as possible within a 2-minute span, and then we're going to randomly select someone who got it correct to win our little prize pack we have here, which is a farrier's finish, a Life Data hoof clay, breeder's formula, t-shirt, and a hat. We also have our grand prize giveaway. That link for that grand prize giveaway should be scrolling at the bottom of your screen. I believe it's lifedata.live/win. You can feel free to enter into that at any point in time. But in the presentation, we will have a secret keyword that I'll give to you that will basically almost double your entries. That's kind of as a thank you for watching and for sticking it through with us. But today, Mike, we're talking about
Joints.
Equine joints.
Absolutely. In fact, 2 weeks ago, we had the Kentucky Derby. And there was a long shot that won that race. In fact, the odds were like 80-1. The horse was named Rich Strike.
Yeah.
And do you think he had joint problems?
Oh,
I don't think so.
No.
I think he was good and healthy and was very mobile.
Absolutely.
2 weeks ago. Now, tomorrow afternoon, we have another big race, too. And it's the Preakness. And it's in Baltimore, Maryland as well. And we do have a filly that's competing against 8 others in this particular race. And if I'm not mistaken, there'll be a female jockey that's riding that female.
Fantastic.
That horse is Secret Oath. And the last time I looked, I think she was pretty much a favorite to win this race here.
Fantastic.
The girls, the one girl against the boys.
Hey,
so
more power.
That's right, absolutely. But what we want to talk about today is the joint. How important it is to, number one, maintain, keep that joint healthy. And not only the joint itself, but we've got to think about the foot of the horse as well. So if we got good hooves and if we got good healthy joints, then that horse should be able to perform at its optimum peak or whatever, okay? And of course we know if we have hoof issues or if we have joint issues, then that horse is going to be hindered severely if it's competing or whatever. So, first part of this presentation, we're going to deal with a little anatomy, okay?
Okay.
And the first thing that we need to understand, and if Mr. Will would go ahead and pull up slide number 1 for me, and we're going to see the skeleton of the horse. And Corbin, how many bones do you think there would be in the skeleton of that horse?
You know, Mike, you've asked me this question
Sure.
and given me the answer.
Right.
But yet I do not remember.
And the answer is right in front of you,
Oh,
Corbin.
is it?
Yes, sir. At the very top.
At the very top,
Yeah.
200.
There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 plus bones in the skeleton of this horse now. So the next question is, what holds these bones together? And so anytime we have 2 or more bones that come together, that actually forms a joint.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're talking about today, is what's in between those bone formations there, called the joint, okay? And that joint is made up of connective tissue, okay? It's also made up of tendons, ligaments, and cartilage. And all those are very important to the health and welfare of the joint itself. Now, if Mr. Will would bring up slide number 2. As we continue to talk about the joint, we need to have an understanding of the different types of joints there. And as you can see on the screen there, we have cartilaginous, which has a very limited amount of movement. An example is the vertebrae in the horse itself. We have what we call the fibrous, which is basically immovable, and that is what holds the bones within the skull of the horse together. And the last one that we will spend most of our time on during this presentation is the synovial joint there. And when we take a look at the synovial joint, it's going to move freely, okay? It's going to be the most common joint that's going to be in the horse itself. And when we think about the synovial joint, we have different types of that particular joint itself. And let me quickly mention those. We have what we call a hinge joint. An example would be the elbow. We have a ball and socket joint. An example would be the hip, the shoulder. And then we have a gliding joint, which would make up the knee and the hump. So those are the 3 types of synovial joints that's going to be in the horse itself. Now, we're going to go ahead and ask the first question.
Okay.
Very early.
Very early. I think that's
and I'm going to let you read that question for me.
Okay,
if you don't
all
mind,
right.
Corbin.
Okay, everyone, we are going to do our first trivia question. And so you're going to have 2 minutes to answer this question. And I'm going to ask it, and then while during that time, I've got a few questions for you, Mike.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? Again, this is for the U.S. only. We're going to randomly select someone who gets it correct. And so good luck. This is for that first prize pack. So question number 1. How many bones are in the skeletal system of the horse?
I think we've answered it already.
Which I somewhat answered.
Right.
from cheating. So you have 2 minutes to answer that question. And now during that time, I can ask you some questions real quick.
Absolutely.
Will we give everyone some time?
Sure.
Okay, so some of these questions, of course, came up from Facebook, where I posted and had a few people message us or post. But can joint supplements help with arthritis?
I would say yes, they can help with arthritis, especially movement. Of course, one of the problems with arthritis as it progresses, we're going to have inflammation there, and we're going to have a lack of movement or mobility. And a good hoof supplement, such as what we have to offer here at Life Data Labs, is really going to help that particular situation. Now, will it cure the problem? No, but it's going to make the horse more comfortable and more mobile, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I guess at that point in time, too, especially when the arthritis is set in, your goal is really just to make that horse as comfortable as possible.
That's right. And if we're in the beginning stages of it, if we will jump on the problem quickly, and of course we need to consult with our veterinarian, the help of a farrier, and our vet may suggest some things as well to help that particular joint. But the earlier we address the situation, the more longevity that horse is going to have if that horse is competing.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, it looks like we've got about 30 seconds left before we end the first contest. So let me ask you just one more here. Can hoof health affect the joints?
Yes, it can. In fact, hoof health and joint health are related, especially from a nutrition side. Okay? From that aspect, hoof balance is also correlated to joint health as well. Of course, if we have a foot that's out of balance, then that is felt all the way up through the limb of that horse, and that's going to put undue pressure on the joint itself, which can be detrimental to the health of that joint over a period of time. So they're connected in that particular manner, yes.
Absolutely. All right, well, it looks like we have a winner. Will, if you don't mind pulling that up for me real quick. Mike, why don't you give us the winner?
Paige Cerulli, I think is how you pronounce your last name, Paige, but congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thank you for answering
Paige.
the question.
Absolutely. You can email us at cservice@lifedatalabs.com. In the subject line, put live giveaway winner. We'll need your t-shirt size and your shipping address. Again, this is, when we do run these contests, we won't ever privately message you. We won't friend request you. We won't ask for credit card information or anything along those lines. If you ever get a message like that, don't respond. But we will, if you'll email that to us, we'll make sure to get your prize pack to you. And again, the prize pack is going to be a Farrier's Formula cap, one of these t-shirts, a clay and Farrier's finish, which if you've ever watched our presentations on white line disease or thrush, these are non-caustic and are really great for those problems. And then we also will be sending you the Life Data Breeders Formula, which is for our canine friends.
That's right.
So, all right, Mike. Well, as we move on, we talked about the synovial joint. What makes up that synovial joint?
And that's a good question, and that's something that we need to spend just a few minutes on in discussing what actually makes up this particular joint, which is the most common joint in the horse itself. Of course, we realize to have a joint, we've got to have at least two or more bones that are come together to form the joint itself. But essentially, if we have a synovial joint, then we're going to have a plate of subchondral bone covered with a thin layer of articular cartilage. And that's a very important word there, articular cartilage. Okay? That's going to determine whether that horse is going to be comfortable or whether or not we are developing a problem within that joint itself, articular cartilage, okay? Now, there's also going to be a synovial fluid-filled cavity between the articulating bones itself. There's going to be a synovial membrane lining the inner layer of this particular joint. And then the last thing that we're going to have that's going to encompass this, we're going to have a joint capsule that's going to enclose or encompass that joint itself. So that is the makeup of a synovial joint. Now, the next point that we need to talk about, what is the function of a synovial joint? What does it do? Well, number one, it's there for movement. Okay? We understand that. It's also there to allow the horse to transfer the load from one bone to the next bone. So there's a transfer of this pressure or this weight from one to the other. Okay? Now, this movement should be frictionless and it should be painless. Okay? If that horse is experiencing pain or discomfort in this movement process, then that tells us that, hey, we've got something that's not right. Something is going on at this point in time. And so this ability to move freely, this ability to be painless, all goes back to the articular cartilage that's lining the ends of those bones itself, where they come together. Okay?
Okay.
Now, this articular cartilage is able to withstand extremely high loads of pressure because it's transferring the weight from one bone to the next bone. It's allowing the flex or the movement of the joint itself. And when we take a look at this particular cartilage, it's made up of about 70 to 80% water. Okay? And along with that, we're going to have collagen, and then we're going to have a multitude of different molecules that's going to be in the cartilage itself. And we might ask ourselves, what is the leading cause of lameness? It also causes a loss of function in the athletic horse. What do you think it would be?
I'm going to say it is musculoskeletal dysfunction.
Absolutely, Corbin. And in layman's terms, what does that mean? We have a joint problem.
Yes.
So a joint problem is the leading cause of lameness and the lack of ability to perform in our athletic horses, simply put. Okay? Now, what causes these problems? I think we need to take a look at that and spend just a few minutes on what are the causes of a joint problem itself.
Absolutely.
Okay? One of the problems is that we may have an abnormal force acting on normal cartilage. Now, what does that mean? If we have a foot that's out of balance, then that's going to transfer this abnormal force to this joint, which may have normal cartilage there. And over a period of time, that's going to take a toll. Okay? Or we could have normal forces that are pressing against abnormal cartilage. In other words, we have a problem in the joint to begin with, and we're receiving this pressure from a normal force, from a normal foot, but yet since we have a problem within the joint, then it's going to be detrimental to the joint, this added force or pressure itself.
Over time, it just wears that joint out.
That's right. Okay? Another thing that can cause a joint problem, and of course we can actually have this within the hoof capsule, would be an infection. Of course, within the hoof capsule, we think of an abscess, but we can actually have an infection within the joint that's going to work against joint health itself. Our foals at birth can be born with some type of an angular limb deformity, and this is something that we have to jump on quickly. We need the help of a good farrier in trying to correct this situation. And sometimes we can do the best we can in trying to correct the situation, but we still end up with some type of a conformation problem in the horse, which is going to put undue pressure on that joint itself, regardless of the best that we can do to address that situation itself. We can have a diseased joint. Capsulitis would be an example of that, and that's just simply inflammation within the joint itself. We can have normal stresses that are working against normal cartilage, and over a period of time we can still have degeneration of this articular cartilage itself, okay? When everything is normal. And we refer to that as osteoarthritis. And that is one of the most common causes of joint issues today, is osteoarthritis, okay? And basically osteoarthritis is the destruction of this articular cartilage that we've been saying over and over again. Okay? Now, let's go to slide number 3. Well, and we're going to see a knee here, And as you can see, there's considerable inflammation in that knee.
Absolutely.
Arthritis. I know the history of this particular horse. At the time that this picture was made, the horse would have been about 37 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay. He was an Arab cross. And early, well, I'm going to say he was about 37, and about 10 years prior to that, he was beginning to have some problems as far as the movement and the mobility of that particular limb, especially in that knee itself. And the farrier actually had a tough time in trying to pick up that foot in order to work on the foot. So at that point in time, we actually put this particular horse on this DS Plus joint that made a severe difference, I mean a tremendous difference in the mobility of that joint. And it helped to keep the horse a little more comfortable. But this horse was able to live until he was about 38 years old. Okay. So we kept him as comfortable as possible, even though he had the inflammation there, osteoarthritis. Okay? Okay, let's go to question number 2, please.
All right, we'll do another trivia question.
Let's do one more question.
All right. All right, everybody, crack your fingers and get ready on your keyboard. This is question number 2. Again, answer it correctly, and we will randomly select someone with the correct answer to win another one of our prize packs, which is the Farrier's Finish, Hoof Clay, Breeders' Formula t-shirt, and a hat. This is, again, for the U.S. only. Unfortunately, due to those international giveaway laws, we can only do it within the U.S. Okay. What is the #1 cause of lameness and loss of function in the athletic horse? Again, what is the #1 cause of lameness and loss of function in the athletic horse? And you've got 2 minutes. I know you could technically do the advanced answer on this, or you could do it as a simplified answer.
Either one is totally acceptable.
I know I personally would have no idea how to spell the complicated version. So you have 2 minutes to answer that. And in the meantime, we've got a few questions again from Mike. I did see one pop up where someone was asking about the new IR formula and where to get it. So I'll, if you don't mind, I'll tackle those questions.
You go right ahead, Corbin. Yes, sir.
So these specialty products, the IR formula, Lamina formula, the Adrenal formula, these are products for specific problems. The IR formula, again, for the insulin-resistant horses, and these are brand new products. So especially the IR formula just came out this year. The best place to get it is probably directly from us right now, because it's still being sent out and given to a lot of distributors are still picking it up. You can ask your distributor if they carry any of our products. They can order those specialty products, but the easiest place currently, especially for, again, the IR formula, is going to be directly from us. The Lamina formula is available several other different places.
The Lamina is available now at Valley Vet Supply and also at Big D's.
I know that one's definitely that one's been spreading out a lot more.
Right. In fact, it was one of the first specialty products.
Absolutely.
That was released. Yeah.
Okay, so someone asked about the long-term damage of pigeon-toed horses.
Well, you have a conformation problem there, #1. And that's going to affect the forelimbs of that horse, yes, over a period of time. So with the help of a good farrier, and in trying to keep that horse as balanced as possible, then the longevity should be pretty good, but we've got to stay on top of the problem.
Absolutely.
As far as a proper trim and a balanced trim as much as problem, even though you've got this particular situation going on. Yes.
Well, would you say, especially, of course, with the pigeon-toed horses, or if a horse develops a type of issue like that, the best step forward is really just to stay on top of it, right?
It is. And in fact, if that horse had been caught and worked on as a foal, and I'm making the assumption that since we have a severe problem of pigeon-toed, that didn't take place, okay? But that would have been the the correct starting point to try to have made some adjustments in that abnormality at that point in time with some corrective trimming during the foal stage.
Absolutely.
And you don't have long to do that either. If you have a foal that has an abnormality like that, then you need to jump right on the situation, and we need to correct that as quick as possible.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's been up for 2 minutes now. So,
Okay.
So the question was, what is the number one cause of lameness and loss of function in the athletic horse? And that's basically joint problems.
It's just a joint problem. Sure, right.
So we do have a winner, and I'll let you answer that one as well.
And the lucky winner is Sammy Johnson.
Sammy Johnson, congratulations. If you'll email us at cservice@lifedatalabs.com in the subject line, live giveaway winner, and you will receive the Farrier's Finish, the hoof clay, Breeder's Formula, a t-shirt, so we'll need your t-shirt size in that email, and a hat, and then the best shipping address. So send that to us, and we'll get that off to you.
Right out to you.
Absolutely.
Okay. And of course, we're still talking about some of the causes of joint issues, and let me throw out a few more to you. One of those was in the question that was just asked, and that's conformation.
Absolutely.
Okay. And we realize that the best time to address that would be as a foal to make the needed corrections, if at all possible, at that point in time. And then as that horse matures and ages, then we need to do the best job we can in trying to provide a balanced hoof capsule in itself. Of course, genetics, there's some horses that are prone to this particular problem. Can't do anything about that. We just have to manage the horse itself. We can actually overuse that horse, force that horse to do too much strenuous work, exercise, or whatever, and that can contribute to a joint issue. We can have a trauma to the joint itself and create an issue there, and just simply wear and tear over a period of time is going to cause this form of arthritis that we've mentioned earlier.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I know our presentation today is called the unseen dangers of joint health. That joint, we can't always visibly see it.
No.
So what are some signs, clinical signs, that these horse owners can look for to know that there is a problem?
And that's some very good points that we need to take a look at there. Now, is there a way to examine the joint? Yes, with the help of a vet, x-rays, ultrasound, yes. That's going to give us a true picture. But in the absence of that, some of the clinical signs that we'll throw out, mention to you. Number one, the horse simply doesn't move like it did at an earlier age. There's a difference there. The horse doesn't move as quickly or whatever. The horse may end up with a short stride where the horse doesn't reach as far as it did at one point in time. This might be in one limb, or it could be in both front feet, or even the hind end of the horse. As we ride the horse, our ride may not be as smooth as it was at one time either. And of course, one of the sure things that is a telltale sign of a joint problem, and we've looked at that, and that is the inflammation, the knee that we just seen there, that's inflamed, that's enlarged. And another problem too that's easy to detect, we need to do a good job in picking and cleaning those hooves. So when we go to pick up that limb or that leg, if that horse is giving us some resistance there, if it's painful to the horse, then that's telling us we got something going on when it comes to a joint issue there. Another indicator is this, that as we exercise our horse, when we first get on the horse, if that horse seems to be stiff, it doesn't want to move freely like we would want it to, but as we continue to exercise, then the horse kind of works out of the situation, as it warms up. Well, these are some of the clinical signs that, hey, we've got a joint problem there. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right. And it's time for us to do something about that. Okay?
Well, I know, one of the things that we always preach around here is prevention is easier than treatment.
That's right.
So what are some steps? What's some good joint care things that horse owners can start to do, to help prevent and to extend the longevity of these joints?
One of the things that we need to be very mindful of, and that's basically for the overall health of the horse, the foot of the horse, the joint of the horse, and that's providing that horse with a balanced diet.
Absolutely.
Okay? That's the key thing, number one. Okay? Now, when do we start that balanced diet? Okay? If we have brood mares, if we're growing babies, when does it start? When does that balanced diet start?
Starts with the brood mare.
It starts with that brood mare. And as that brood mare is carrying that foal, and as that foal is developing, then that foal needs certain nutrients, whether that's a mineral, a vitamin, or amino acid, and we are providing that through this balanced diet that we're providing the brood mare.
Absolutely.
Now, when she foals or gives birth, does it stop there?
No.
No, it's just started now with that foal to provide that foal with the needed nutrients to develop its skeletal system. Of course, part of that skeletal system is the union of those bones that we refer to as that particular joint there. And then as this horse reaches a yearling, a 2-year-old, then we continue this balanced diet. All right? We never give up on providing a balanced diet.
Absolutely.
Because that balanced diet is going to provide that horse with sufficient nutrients to maintain, to grow dermal tissue. When it comes to the joint, it's going to provide the needed nutrients to maintain, to grow connective tissue or collagen in that joint itself. All right? Another thing too, besides a balanced diet, would be a good joint supplement. Okay? And it's never too early to start a joint supplement in a horse. And all that joint supplement is going to do is going to provide the nutrients to maintain good joint health. And hopefully that if we do that early enough, that's going to prolong the usefulness of that horse.
Absolutely.
And help head off some of the wear, the tear, where we end up with some type of joint problem then, okay? And of course, here at Life Data Labs, we have a product called DS Plus Joint. It has an added benefit to it. Not only is it a joint supplement, but it is a hoof supplement.
Absolutely.
It is a combo product. So we are protecting the foot of the horse. We're protecting the joint of the horse with one feeding.
Absolutely.
And this is a 60-day supply for a 1,000-pound horse at a half a cup or 3 ounces of product per day.
Absolutely. I know we had some viewers in Canada who will be happy to hear that this is now available in Canada.
It is. In fact, it's been there for about a month, maybe 2 months at the most.
Absolutely. So you can actually visit lifedatalabs.ca. You can learn more about the product there, as well as find some of these distributors who are carrying it and can get it for you. So that's again brand new to Canada, and we were very excited. It's been, I know that we've been asked about when it's going to come to Canada for a long time now. So.
And if I'm not mistaken, we've already sent our second shipment to Canada already. So it's getting out there through our distributors.
Absolutely.
So if you're interested and it's not on the store shelf or where you're purchasing Farrier's formula or some of our other products, ask for it.
Absolutely.
They can get it and stock it for you.
Absolutely.
Something else that we need to be mindful too when we think about joint care.
Can I stop you for just
yes,
1 second? I'm
absolutely.
sorry.
Go right ahead.
This follows along with what we were just discussing.
Okay, go right ahead.
Don would like to know, is there an age when you can start those supplements on new foals? Or what age can we start?
You can start as soon as that foal gets old enough or to start nibbling and eating, you can safely feed any of our products to the foal.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And starting that early is like you talked about. That horses, that's the building blocks
That's
of the
right.
joint.
And of course, naturally, we're going to feed it by body weight. And of course, if we're talking about a foal, we're talking about a minimal amount of product on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So, yep.
Absolutely.
And something else that we need to consider when we think about joint care, maintenance, is actually the age of the horse. And all this is tying in. When can you start? Is there a point as far as age that we're more prone to seeing a joint problem? I'm going to say somewhere around 10, 11, 12 years of age, something like that. We need to really consider the addition of a joint, especially if we have a competitive horse that's competing or whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay. Some of the things that we need to avoid, and that would be repetitive trauma on those joints. Over and over and over and over. We need to avoid that, okay? We don't want to get into that cycle there. We don't want to overwork a horse either, okay? That can work on those joints as well. Exercise is extremely important, whether that's for hoof growth, hoof quality. It's also great for joint health as well, okay?
Absolutely.
And one of the easiest things that we can do when it comes to a horse, riding that horse, is simply walking that horse. And that's good for joint health itself. Uphill work versus trotting on a flat surface is less traumatic to that joint as well, okay, in a situation like that. Prolonged training at high speeds can be very detrimental to the joint itself, okay? So for those that are in thoroughbred racing or standardbred racing or quarter horse racing, then we need to be mindful of our exercise regimen there as well, okay?
Absolutely.
Something else that's going to be very beneficial in maintaining and taking care of joint care and health is our farrier schedule.
Very important.
It's very important that we maintain a regular schedule. We don't have any extremes. And anytime we have an extreme and we have some excessive hoof growth, that's felt up through the entire limb itself. And of course, the thing that we have stressed here, hoof balance is critical. We want that hoof to be as balanced as possible. Something else that has created a tremendous problem in the U.S. and around the world is obesity.
Absolutely.
So another thing that we need to be mindful of is controlling the body condition score of our horses. You know, we need to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about a 4 to 5, no more than a 6, as far as the body condition score. And what does that excess weight do to a joint?
It's going to put extra stress on the joint.
It puts extra stress on the joint. That is absolutely right, okay? Let me give you a human example.
Yeah.
Like me, I could lose a few pounds, okay? Now, if I lost 1 pound, that means that 1 pound loss would decrease the amount of pressure on my knees by 4 pounds. So if I lost 10 pounds, that's 40 pounds of pressure that's reduced on my knees and on my joints. Same thing with a horse. Same thing with a dog, or all animals, you know.
Absolutely.
So we need to maintain body condition score, okay? Now, I think we're ready for question number 3.
All right, question number 3. Okay, everybody. So again, we're going to ask this next trivia question. You'll have 2 minutes to answer it. We're going to look through the correct answers and randomly select someone to win our last prize pack. If you do not win one of the live ones, don't worry, we still have our grand prize giveaway. It's been scrolling at the bottom of the screen. At any point in time, you can enter into that contest, but a little bit later, we will give you the secret code that will allow you to basically double your entries into that contest. Okay, so the third question is the leading cause of joint disease, which is the destruction of articular cartilage, is what? The
What
leading
causes that?
cause of joint disease, which is the destruction of articular cartilage, is what? You have 2 minutes. In the meantime, let's finish up some of these questions. Let's see. When do I start prevention? We discussed that one right there with right there in the beginning. Can a joint injury be reversed?
Depending on the severity of the problem, yes. To answer your question, that specifically, it just depends on how severe the injury was. Okay? And I know that's not exactly answering the question, but that's
it's a very vague.
sure.
Yeah,
It's sure. Yeah.
Can certain foods create joint issues?
When we think about a balanced diet, yes, we can have an imbalance in certain minerals that would create a hoof, a joint issue from a nutritional standpoint. Yes. We can also, that green, lush grass that these horses love to graze on in the spring and especially late fall can cause some issues too that we need to be very mindful of as well, simply because of the sugar content, the fructan level that's in those green, lush, cool season grasses. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if you go read our latest blog article, it's lifedatalabs.com/blog, we actually talk about some of those issues that can arise through nutrition to the joint and also to the hoof. I know some of those imbalances can cause inflammation and so on. So.
And essentially, the joint and the hoof capsule basically need the same nutrients in the right proportion and ratio to each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that's one reason why we recommend the double strength plus joint.
Right.
Because it's the hoof and joint supplement together, and you don't have to feed separately. You don't have to worry about overdosing on certain nutrients and so on. So.
Sure. And of course, one other thing, since you brought up the product once again, and we talked about a mineral imbalance, one of the reasons that Life Data Labs created this particular product was because we actually had issues from a mineral imbalance. We had a lot of times we would end up with a sulfur toxicity problem in our horse, and that would arise where a horse owner would be feeding Ferrous formula and a separate joint supplement that contained MSM. Of course, Ferrous formula has sufficient sulfur in it to begin with that comes from the methionine in the product, and then when we throw a separate joint on top of Ferrous formula that has the MSM, which is sulfur, we cross the line there. We get too much sulfur in the diet of the horse, and what that does in turn is that excess sulfur actually ties up the needed calcium that hoof capsule needs. And we can look at that calcium as the glue that actually holds that hoof capsule together.
Absolutely.
So in those horses that were on Ferrous formula, the MSM, and we had the toxicity problem, then we had a foot that wanted to fall apart.
Absolutely.
And that was the sole culprit of the problem there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's a good point. You know, if you're ever feeding multiple supplements, always check what you're feeding.
Right.
Because some of those repetitive nutrients and so on can cause problems.
Absolutely.
Which, you know, here at Life Data, I know we take calls all the time. So, you know, if you do have questions on combining the supplements, or you want to make sure you are helping or feeding that balanced diet, give us a call. And we got, of course, Mike here, and of course, Dr. Scott Gravely. And between the two of them, we can check it out and make sure.
We'll be glad to help you and assist you.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I know we are well over our 2 minutes now.
Okay.
But let's get this third question answered here. The leading cause of joint disease, which is the destruction of articular cartilage, is osteoarthritis. And I believe we have a winner. It's G.C. Cox. Congratulations. If you'll email cservice@lifedatalabs.com, subject line, you can put live giveaway winner. And again, you've won the Farrier's Finish, Breeder's Formula, Hoof Clay, a t-shirt, and a hat. We'll need your t-shirt size and, of course, your mailing address so that we can ship this to you. And then, as always, another reminder, when we do these live events, don't ever, we won't private message you, we won't friend request you, we won't ask for credit card information or anything along those lines. I know there's a lot of people out there who try to con others out of credit card information by pretending to be companies and so on. So we'll basically, all the information will be given through these live events and, of course, through email. So that's it for our live questions, but we still have our grand prize giveaway, which we'll discuss later on. So congratulations again to our 3 winners today.
And in winding down,
Okay.
if we have a joint problem, what should we do? Who do we consult with?
We're going to consult with our veterinarian.
That's right.
And
We
then also our farrier.
need to call in our veterinarian, our farrier. We need to have a team approach in addressing a joint problem, or even a hoof problem. Sometimes it takes a team. And of course, you, the horse owner, are part of that
Absolutely.
team because you see that horse on a daily basis. And it'll be up to you to follow the recommendations of your vet or farrier or both of them in addressing whatever situation, whether that's a hoof issue or whether that's a joint problem or whether that's a combination of both.
Absolutely.
In which it could be.
Absolutely.
So we're going to visit with our vet farrier. We're going to take their recommendations. We're going to put them into place. Our vet may want to do a lameness exam, especially if we have a joint problem or even a hoof problem. The vet can do that. He's able to detect a lot of these problems through x-rays, through ultrasounds, and of course that may be part of what is done to fully diagnose your joint issue there. Of course, under the supervision of your vet, he may recommend some form of an injection, depending on the type of a joint issue that you have there, the age of the horse, and what the prognosis may be, in the end then there. And then, of course, 9 times out of 10, they're going to advise that you put the horse on a good joint supplement. And of course, if you want to protect that foot and the joint, then we would seriously recommend that you take a look at the DS Plus joint here as well. And as we mentioned earlier, one of the main reasons that this was created to avoid that sulfur toxicity problem.
Absolutely.
So in feeding this particular product, we are going to protect the foot, we're going to protect the joint of the horse, and from the Farrier's Formula side, we're also going to improve skin quality, hair coat, and hair condition as well.
Absolutely.
So we're going to make the outside appearance improve with a good hoof supplement such as Farrier's Formula.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over
All right.
to Corbin.
You want to talk about the grand prize giveaway a little bit?
Tell the good people
All
what
right.
the grand prize is going to be.
So again, that grand prize has been scrolling down there at the bottom, the link to get to it, which is lifedata.live/win. The secret code is joint care.
Is that all one
All
word?
one word. Joint care.
Capital?
Absolutely. No, it doesn't. It's all gonna. They can do it all lowercase. It'll
Okay.
automatically fill that in. It's just joint care. It's one word. You will have until Tuesday at noon to enter in this contest, and that's noon Central Time. And Tuesday we will go live once again to announce 3 winners, and those winners are going to receive a bag of the Farrier's Formula DS Plus joint. This is a 60-day supply. So you'll receive one of those. You'll receive a Farrier's Finish, which is one of our liquid topicals.
It's an antimicrobial plus
and
a conditioner.
And conditioner. It's also non-caustic, along with the Life Data Hoof Clay. So you'll get these 3 items. Again, the Farrier's Finish Hoof Clay, great for thrush, white line disease. The clay specifically, also great for cracks and defects. So you'll be taking care of the horse internally, the hoofs and the joints. and then you have the external hoof protection with the hoof clay and the farrier's finish. And again, as always, when you're using topicals, we always say, if you can't put it on your own skin, don't put it on your horse, and these are non-caustic. So
and the two topicals are there are going to address the environmental issues.
Absolutely.
That's going to work against the foot of the horse then.
Absolutely. So that is our grand prize contest. Again, we'll go live Tuesday at the same time, 2 o'clock Central Time, to announce the winners. Now, if anyone has any lasting questions, please drop them in. We are about to close out. You can drop them in the comments. But I do want to talk about our next live event because we have another one coming up.
We do?
I
can't remember the date.
Will, you want to pop,
Is it on the screen?
You want to pop that up? So that is going to be June 24th.
Okay, about
Friday.
a month.
Yes, about a month.
About a month from today.
June 24th, and it is hoof care and the IR horse.
And that is a growing issue in this country.
Yes.
Obesity essentially has created the problem. That's led to metabolic issues, and insulin resistance can be very detrimental to hoof quality because of laminitis and founder.
Absolutely.
That horse is going to be very much subject to.
Absolutely. That's what we're going to talk about. Is why do these IR horses need hoof support?
Right.
And talk about what is insulin resistance,
right,
and why does it affect it. So it's going to be a really great presentation. You can go ahead and you can go to that link right there. It's lifedata.live/FB event. And that will take you to the Facebook event where you can go ahead and mark yourself as going so that you can get any updates or changes that may happen. And end of the day, we'll see you on the 24th, and sure. Hope to see you there. It's going to be a good one.
Yep.
Okay, looks like we got a couple questions here. Can you repeat the secret word? The secret word is joint care. Joint care. That is all one word, no spaces. Okay, so is this a one-time grand prize entry or as many times as you desire until Tuesday? So when you pull up the event, the contest, there's going to be several different options. Once when you've done them all, you're entered. Now you can just do one of them or you can do all of them. The more you do, the more chances you have to win. So I definitely suggest that you do all of them. To me, the best one is the refer a friend. So you can actually, when you see that refer a friend, you can actually send them a link to the contest. And every time that one of your friends enters the contest from your referral link, you get more entries. So technically, you can refer friends all the way until Tuesday and just bank more and more points. I guess technically it's up to you on whether you want those recurring points or not. Let's see, we got a couple more. I believe that's it. Okay, we did have, okay, I need a hoof oil for extreme heat and dry for the Southwest. Catherine, that is the farrier's finish. That farrier's finish is going to help in dry environments. It's going to keep it from becoming too dry. It's going to help in the wet environments from becoming too soft. It's got some phospholipid compounds in there that are going to help with that hoof. Anything you want to add to it?
And plus, it's going to take care of any type of a bacterial infection or a problem or an attack on the hoof capsule itself.
Absolutely.
Very mild, as Corbin said, non-caustic, will not burn or kill hoof tissue. If you're under extreme conditions, you'd probably want to use it at least every other day. This is a product that goes on the entire foot, the entire sole of the foot, and then the entire hoof wall.
Absolutely. Let's see. We had a couple more here. Sorry, I lost it. Okay. Do you recommend using farrier's finish on the sole of the hoof when it's really dry?
Absolutely.
Goes over, you can put it over the entire
hoof wall, the entire sole of the foot.
Absolutely.
Yes, right.
Into the frog, white line area, even if there's a little gapping there. Of course, we also just the hoof clay if you've got any bad hoof cracks or so on. And you can actually use the farrier's finish and the hoof clay together. You put the clay on first, and then you do the farrier's finish. So especially, I know right now we're getting into some, even here in Alabama, it's pretty dry.
Yes.
And so that farrier's finish is wonderful to keep those hoofs conditioned. How often would you apply it?
At least every other day in extreme conditions there. If everything was normal, at least 1 to 2 times a week as a preventative measure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So yeah, just when you're picking up that hoof to do your daily cleaning, every few days, just whip out the farrier's finish and coat the entire hoof.
You can brush it on, sponge it on, just get it on the entire hoof capsule itself. And dry conditions can be just as detrimental as wet conditions when it comes to hoof quality.
Absolutely.
Because in dry conditions, that hoof capsule wants to contract. That gives that hoof capsule an opportunity to chip and to crack at that point in time as well.
Absolutely.
And sometimes if our horses are actually shod, it becomes an opportune time for that shoe to be pulled completely off the foot itself. And a lot of times if you got an extremely dry hoof wall and that horse rips that shoe off, not only are you going to lose the shoe, you're going to lose part of the hoof wall in the process of it coming off as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And we've got some application videos on our YouTube. Where actually Mike's the one's doing the demonstration. He talks a little bit more about the products, and then also, just shows best how he applies it. And so those are definitely great. They're not too long either, probably about 5 minutes or so. All right, let's see. So just to clarify, if the horse is getting Farrier's Formula Double Strength, then don't give MSM additionally.
That is correct.
Yes, you do not want to do that.
Right.
Let's see. Any suggestions for ring bone?
I can't help you there on that one. We don't have any type of product or that whatsoever for that. You might ask the advice of your vet or farrier, either one. I know if your horse is showing some lameness due to ring bone, there may be some type of corrective shoeing that the farrier can do to kind of help improve the condition of that situation then. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And then, of course, just to clarify, I want to go back to the MSM question. Basically, the reason why you don't want to give it is because the Farrier's formula has
sufficient
has
sulfur
enough.
from the DL-methionine already. And then when you add the MSM, which is sulfur as well, then we often cross the line.
Yeah. So if you're already feeding Farrier's Formula Double Strength and you are looking for that extra joint support, we suggest, again, just switching over to this one. And this one actually per day is more than likely going to be cheaper than feeding a separate hoof and joint supplement. And also easier, and you don't have to worry about the over supplementation. Okay, well that is, I guess we're going to close it out there. If we missed any of your questions, feel free to message us at cservice@lifedataLabs.com, or you can message us here on Facebook. So again, thank you again for attending. Don't forget to do the grand prize giveaway, and don't forget to sign up for our next live event, which again is going to be on hoof care and the insulin-resistant horse.
Right. We thank you very much for your time, your attention this afternoon. And as you think about the presentation a little bit, if you have a question, well, feel free to submit that question, and we'll be more than glad to get back with you.
Absolutely. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you very much. Hope you have a good weekend.